One night at a time. Night 2. Who's to say a night guard can't go to a party? Well, I can tell you firsthand that if anyone ever tells you that, they'd be dead wrong, because that's exactly what I did tonight. Tonight began normally. The gravestone rubbing ritual went as usual and was uneventful. Several hours passed, and I was on the verge of boredom when I was approached by a friendly spirit inviting me to the neighborhood bonfire. Shortly after, I arrive at the bonfire, not quite sure what to bring to this sort of thing. What I wasn't expecting was to meet myself. At least someone who looked and spoke exactly like me. They even claimed to have the same name. Well, the bonfire was going well. Mostly spirits were attendees, but there were a few living individuals there. I tried to introduce myself, but they insisted we had already met. Surely this had to be the other me. Seems like this other me didn't have the best social skills, as no one seemed too keen to converse with me. I will find out where this doppelganger came from. One of me in the world is enough. I left the bonfire after spending some time with the spirits and not gaining any useful information about why there are two of me. Guess it's up to me to ponder it all night. One night at a time, spooky season, night 3. I'd say tonight went pretty well overall. The gravestone ritual went off without a hitch, and then I sat down to carve a new pumpkin lantern. Mine had begun to be reclaimed by the earth. I had just finished and was admiring my handiwork when all of the lights turned off suddenly. I squinted, hoping my eyes would adjust. I just make out a shadowy figure leaving my house. My voice falls on seemingly deaf ears as this figure disappears into the night. I could have chased after him, but it's far too dangerous to venture out into the woods at night alone. Instead, I went back into my cottage and searched around. Nothing seemed to be tampered with or stolen. At least, if they had stolen something, they didn't have to rummage around much, and they knew exactly where to look. After an extensive and exhaustive search, I found a pile of pumpkin seeds under my bed. Whoever that figure was must have put them there. But why? These weren't the seeds from the pumpkin I had just carved either. These seeds were roasted already. I've got to quit forgetting to put protections on my house when I leave. I'm lucky it was just pumpkin seeds this time. It could have been far worse than a practical joke. One night at a time. Night 4. So tonight was pretty uneventful right up until the end. Honestly, I was thanking the stars for the easy evening. I was walking home when suddenly I felt that I was no longer enjoying the walk alone. Sure enough, I turned around and am greeted with the most lifeless eyes you can imagine. One of those creepy dolls was following me. Also, there is no way I could have missed it. The thing was covered in glow-in-the-dark paint. Still wet, too. Paint was dripping off of it, leaving little glowing droplets on the ground. It continued to move forward until it reached me, and I hear the thing speak clear as day.
Play with me.
Now, daytime me may have had the patience to deal with this sort of encounter, but it's been a long week already, so I just ran as fast as I could back to my house. The sun was nearly rising, and I needed some rest. Perhaps I imagined the whole thing? Lack of sleep does strange things to the brain. I placed some extra protections on my house that night before getting a restless night's sleep, or day's sleep, however you want to think of it. Surely that doll can't get past my protections. One night at a time, night 5. Leaving my cottage this evening, I noticed that toadstool circle sprouts had emerged around my home, and that my scarecrow was now pointing to the west instead of to the south. Goodness, strange things sure are in surplus around here. I didn't have too long to dwell, for it was the night of the wild hunt, where the magically inclined must traverse a corn maze, find 6 magical items, and combine them in a way that has never been done before. They do this to produce something extraordinary. Quite an exciting night. Last minute, there was a slight change in plans for me, though. I was walking on the road to the maze, and about 100 eyes emerged from the forest. These eyes were embedded onto wings of the creature that was communicating with me. But how? I'm not so sure because I never found the thing's mouth.
We need one more for our Ghost in the Graveyard game. You in?
At least the voice was friendly. It seemed so, at least. I attempted to politely decline the invitation, but the voice persisted.
Come on, please. It'll be fun.
Seeing that it would probably take less time to play one round with them than to argue, I sighed and agreed to play one round. But then I must be on my way. To be honest, it was kind of fun. Maybe I'll play with them again sometime. The wild hunt was pretty entertaining too. Overall, a good night. I needed one of these.